Shailene on Divergent, and that whole young cast of characters, they're wonderful because they'll just do whatever you want them to do. They're so eager and open, and it's a really wonderful kind of gratifying thing that they'll just keep working and doing take after take until they feel like you've got what you want. This is a different story. This is a very personal story about this one woman's experience, who then gets kind of catapulted into this kind of international conspiracy, and it's exciting because of it. Somebody said to me that they watched the movie and they were never kind of looking at Phoebe, even though Phoebe's very beautiful, they were never looking at her like as an object. We never objectified her. We really wanted to be in her point of view the whole time. And I think that our filming technique did that. It wasn't, somebody said, oh, was it sort of a docudrama? But it wasn't, because that sort of means that it's sort of observational and it's sort of third person and you're just kind of observing somebody. Whereas we very much wanted to be in her shoes, in her mindset, in her eye, in her point of view. And so we really never objectified her. But I have actually just been working on another spy thing. It's a TV show called The Agency with Michael Fassbender and Jeffrey Wright and Richard Gere. And I don't know if it's come out in India, but I'm sure it will. It's based on a French show called Le Bureau. I don't know if you know it, but it's that is a big espionage show. Hi, I'm Neil Berger. I'm the director of Inheritance, and watch us on Etimes.
Hello viewers, I'm Karen Pereira from the Times of India with director Neil Berger of the movie Inheritance. Hello sir.
Hello.
It's so lovely to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Well, we've last seen you seen Instagram posts of the shoot going on in Delhi.
Yes.
What was your experience like?
It was amazing. I mean, it was incredibly shooting in Delhi. We shot all over the world. We shot in New York and in Cairo and in New Delhi and then Seoul and then back to New York. So we literally went around the globe. And so, but I'm in love with India, and my family has a history of spending time in India, and so it was very important for me to make one of the stops on this round-the-world thriller in India, and it didn't disappoint. It was fantastic. The crews were great, the actors were great. The locations were amazing.
Compared to your other locations, what made shooting in India so special and necessary for you to bring the story to the bylanes of Delhi?
Well, I think that the movie is about a young woman who is trying to understand who she is. She's kind of unraveling the secrets of her father, his professional secrets, his personal secrets, and his political secrets. And so she's kind of excavating her own past. And so in Egypt, there's the sense of we are excavating our human history with the pyramids and other things like that. And in Delhi, it just felt like there's just this sense of humanity and of sort of the experience of just rubbing shoulders with so many people that was so exciting, actually. And then in Seoul, it was a different kind of thing. So that's why we ended up in Delhi, though.
The Indian audience, with so many movies already being filmed at so many different times, what was your experience with the Indian locals in general during the shoot? We noticed some tight locations squeezing through bylanes.
Yeah.
What was that like?
Well, we shot the movie on an iPhone, actually, and we did that not as a gimmick, not merely as a substitute as a motion picture camera, but because we wanted access so that we could walk through a crowded Delhi market and nobody would look at us, because everybody's just, got a phone in their hand and is filming something. So we did it with a very small crew, and normally when you shoot with, when you have a film crew, normally is disruptive, all the equipment and trucks and people. We didn't want that at all. We just had a very few people and a very small crew, and it allowed us to move through different locations and not be noticed, really for us to see the world rather than the world to be looking at us.
So nobody recognized Phoebe? Like, she has quite the fan following here after
Yes,
Bridgerton.
every once in a while somebody would say something, but generally no. Because we were very quick in and out. We would not, the way normally a film crew like sits there for an entire day, we would sweep in, we would do what we were going to do, and then we would be gone.
In true spirit of the spy theme?
Yes, a little bit it was like that. It was, what we called it sort of a stolen aesthetic, you know, that we were kind of, we were stealing shots on the run, so.
So speaking of spy thrillers, from James Bond to India's very own, Jawan and Pathan, there is always this, this mystery surrounding spy thrillers.
Yes.
What do you think Inheritance brings? That is something new to the table.
Well, I think the difference in Inheritance from a normal, you look at John le Carré, the English, espionage novelist, who's sort of the dean of the form, and his was very much about the institution of spies. Whereas what's interesting here is that there's this father-daughter relationship, and she's really trying to understand who her father is and what he's done, and is he a good guy or is he a bad guy? And then because of that, where does she stand? Is she good? Is she bad? Is she a black sheep? He's kind of he's a black sheep. Her mother's a saint, and so who is she and where does she fit in? So I think that's a sort of a different take on it.
Okay. Well, over the years, we've seen several female, spy thrillers, whether it's Angelina Jolie, Scarlett. Yeah. But there are, the audience's reservations towards these things. What is your take on this, and how do you think this whole genre will shift in time?
Well, look, I think that all genres will be shifting more toward women's stories as women gain more equality and the other kind of restrictions on women start to fall away. And I think that this is a different story. This is a very personal story about this one woman's experience, who then gets kind of catapulted into this kind of international conspiracy, and it's exciting because of it.
Okay. With spies, there's always this thing about sex appeal, and well, Phoebe kind of gives like this, she's trying to blend in more than stand out.
Yes.
And in India, we have our own range of, female-led spy thrillers, whether it's Alia Bhatt, Deepika Padukone.
Yes.
Even Priyanka Chopra is with Citadel.
Yes.
So what is your advice, to actresses taking on these leading roles in these spy series genre?
Well, it's interesting because somebody said to me that they watched the movie and they were never kind of looking at Phoebe, even though Phoebe's very beautiful, they were never looking at her like as an object. We never objectified her. We really wanted to be in her point of view the whole time. And I think that our filming technique kind of did that. It wasn't, somebody said, oh, was it sort of a docudrama? But it wasn't, because that sort of means that it's sort of observational and it's sort of third person and you're just kind of observing somebody. Whereas we very much wanted to be in her shoes, in her mindset, in her eye, in her point of view. And so we really never objectified her. And we, she doesn't use that. She just uses her wits she's a sexual creature, but she's not using it in any kind of way.
What made you want to change?
We wanted the movie to feel real. We wanted to feel like she was walking into these real situations and that these were real people, and that it didn't take you out and it didn't feel like it was movie acting. And again, we weren't trying to say it was a documentary, but we did want it to feel real and immediate, and that she was in the world that you were seeing, and that this was the real world. And so, you always need good actors to do that, but we needed them to just kind of blend in.
And since we're talking about spies, there is so much happening in the world right now. In Hollywood, things getting messy. Diddy, Blake and Justin.
Yeah.
As a spy, which mission would you send them on?
Which mission would I send those?
To unveil secrets, spill the tea.
Yeah, that's a good question. It's sort of like, I think that they would be more they'd be more the targets, and so it'd be interesting to get the spies to be spying on them, and what you really have to do is just completely blend in and not be noticed. Those people wouldn't get away with it because they need the attention, and a good spy just needs to kind of blend in and not be seen.
Okay. And finally, you're also working on Bride of Frankenstein?
That's an old thing, no.
Oh,
yeah,
no.
but I have actually just been working on another spy thing. It's a TV show called The Agency with Michael Fassbender and Jeffrey Wright and Richard Gere. And I don't know if it's come out in India, but I'm sure it will. It's based on a French show called The Bureau, Le Bureau. I don't know if you know it, but it's that is a big espionage show, and so I've just finished working on it, and it's just been showing in the United States.
Okay. And what's the difference between working with these young Hollywood talents, whether Shiley or Phoebe, and then on the other side working with somebody like Michael Fassbender and Richard Gere?
Yeah, or Richard, Robert De Niro I've worked with. Whatever. Well, on one hand, look, the people that are so experienced are incredible because they just show up and they deliver it, and they are great. But they still also need, the best of them still want direction. They want to collaborate. With younger actors, like when I was working with Shailene on Divergent and that whole young cast of characters, they're wonderful because they'll just do whatever you want them to do. They're so eager and open, and it's a really wonderful kind of gratifying thing that they'll just keep working and doing take after take until they feel like you've got what you want. So
you prefer?
Well, sometimes you can say you prefer the younger actors because they're less set in their ways and they're more open-minded. Yeah.
Well, so that's it for us.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for this chat, and we can't wait to see the film and more of your work.
Okay, great. Thank you so much. Thanks for your questions. I appreciate it.
Thank you.